Hello, my beautiful guys and dolls, and welcome to an episode of Before the Curtain. I'm your host, Abby Campbell, and we will be diving into the world of live entertainment. We will uncover what it takes to put on a show, and artists will reveal their stories of how their creations went from idea to reality. We are determined to uncover everything that happens before the curtain. So I'm going to read your intro because I love it.
Yeah, I love it too.
So my guest today is a one-woman show based in Las Vegas, and she's actually one of my really good friends and is probably one of the most multifaceted artists I've ever met. Her incredibly wide-ranging set of talents has led her to perform all over the West Coast for the last decade. She performs under the Hypnotizing Hippie, and let me tell you folks, she is a nothing less than enticing. Known for her captivating burlesque acts, she's also a stilt walker, circus artist, ground and aerial. Swims as a mermaid, a dance instructor, a mentor, can give you a rockin' DJ set, and was voted favorite performance artist by the Wynn Las Vegas and Encore Beach Club in 2024. This is just the tip of the iceberg for this remarkable creator. Seducing is her game and hypnotizing is her name. Please help me welcome to the mic, Miss Tita Siri Bongkot.
Yes, ma'am. Hello.
Hi, I'm so excited for you to be here.
Thank you for having me. I really, really appreciate you.
Oh my, are you kidding me?
All that you do.
My first thought was, I need Tita here right now in this chair.
Wonderful stuff.
So we're going to hop right into it.
Okay.
When did performing first come into your life?
Good question. I think in like 2018.
Okay.
Yeah, I was... Well, maybe my whole life. I don't know. My parents owned a nightclub venue growing up, so I've always been around music. My dad's a full-time musician. I've always just like stole the mic and done weird things, and people in my parents' restaurant would tip me. But until I don't think until like 2018 is when I really started using it as a career. I just wanted to lose weight hula hooping. And I did. I went to Home Depot, I bought piping, and I made my first hula hoop. And I was like 180 pounds, being 5'1". That's like not the right, proportion. So I was like, okay, I need to eat better and be fit. And I'm not a gym person. Like, I get very bored if it's just monotony and like not a lot of visual stimulation. So I was like, what can I do to lose weight, have fun, and not make it feel like I'm losing weight? So hula hooping.
In 2018?
No, I started hula hooping in like 2012.
Oh, okay.
I was still in high school. And then eventually I moved onto a farm where I was doing it outside for like 6 to 8 hours a day. And the people driving up and down the easement, which is like our shared driveway, would just be like, hey, that's cool. And then I was known as the girl with the hula hoop in this really small town. Okanagan, Washington, represent. I lived there taking care of horses and dogs and roosters and goats. And I had like dreadlocks down to my knees and just kind of like, I lived in an RV. And I literally was just out there just when I wasn't taking care of animals, hooping. And the whole town would see me just being outside weird. And then finally this lady had a talent show for the county and was like, you should be in the talent show. And I was like, okay. So I was the final closing act of the night, and then I just had a lot of really amazing supportive people.
So somebody literally pulled you into it.
That's
was like, hey, so you're gonna be in the show.
That's it.
And you were like, okay.
Yeah. And then the next thing you know, like, I had a crochet business, so I was in like the fiber community. I was making wool. So this lady who had a fashion show with like local wool and knitting and crocheting was like, you should perform at our fashion show. And then from there, it just started, like, the ball was rolling. And my partner at the time, like one of my best friends, was recording all this. And we would just like go places and record stuff and then put it on social media. Next thing you know, I started driving hours away for gigs because I lived in like the middle of absolute nowhere.
So just wait. So just from social media, you got asked to start doing gigs.
Pretty much.
Just from posting like videos and wow.
Yeah. I'd go to like Seattle. I went to Montana. All of these were like 8 to 6 to 10 hours away though. So none of it was worth it by any means. But it was worth it in the sense of I got to do what I love to do with people that I admired. And
but did you realize that you loved to do that? Like,
no, I had no idea what I was doing.
But you loved doing it, and you didn't even know that you loved performing until you kind of just were told you were going to.
Exactly. Pretty much. It was not anything. If anything, actually, my rebellious nature made it a point to tell both of my parents that I did not want to be on stage. Like, they tried their whole life to make me become a singer. So I was in choir growing up. I did a cappella. And then I also tried out for American Idol in Houston. Like, my mom took me and was like, you're going to audition. And I'm like, okay, I'm like 16. So, but then when I started getting older, I was like, you know what? That is not what I want to do at all. And so they didn't care about my schooling. They just cared about that stuff. And then pretty soon I showed them how much I detested and didn't want to do it. So then they didn't care about anything.
Wow, what parents didn't care about the academic career? I love that for you.
No, my brother took that. Like, my brother's the smart one. Yeah. He's like the successful one. They didn't really know what was going on with me. I still don't think anybody knows what's going on with me. Because, like, to this day, I'm just like, I don't know how I got here, to be honest.
But so you're now that you're traveling 6 to 10 hours to perform, I mean, like, what was it that you were like, you know what, I think I can make this a career? Honestly, what was that turning point?
When I got here, because even there was like this a year and a half period where I was traveling full time, going from festival to festival, vending tie harem pants and crochet and my handmade crochet stuff and paintings. And Washington, like, I felt like I had bliss, I had everything, but I felt like if I didn't leave, I was going to be missing out on a really core part of my young years. Mm-hmm. So my partner and I were like, okay, we got to go. Like, this is retiring pretty much, and we're not ready for that.
The settling.
Yeah, and it was a beautiful life, and I miss it every single day, but we just knew we weren't ready to settle down. So luckily our house was on wheels, and we just went. And then, like, by the time a year and a half rolled by, we had lived in California, Arizona, Oregon, Washington. Like, we had gone all over the West Coast. And then finally on Instagram, we were in Arizona, and I was like, there's someone who is giving away free tattoos.
Okay.
And her name is Demi, the Quiet Cactus. Shout out, Instagram. She still tattoos, but she was an apprentice at the time. It was this one right here.
Okay.
I had like hardly anything. And we had like $600 in our bank account at this time. Uh-huh. And then I was like, we can stay here in Arizona and rock hound or like, you know, just kind of be here until winter's over. Or we can go to Vegas and go get a free tattoo. And my partner, bless his soul, he entertained every weird and crazy idea I had. He like kept up with me for years. I was like, you want to do it? And he was like, okay. So we left and ended up here. I got the tattoo at the Strat. And then I was like, well, we need money. And so then we signed up for a lottery ticket for Fremont. And I got one of the circles, like the busking circles.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know that was a lottery.
It is. So you have to just enter your information, and by like a certain time of the day, then they give you a spot.
Okay.
And they're all numbered and reserved.
Yeah.
So I did that for the first 3 days we were here because I was like, how are we going to eat? What are we going to do?
Right.
So that's what I did. I bought a $10 showgirl outfit on Facebook Marketplace. I went to Fremont with my hula hoops. And I made about like $150 and we got dinner.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You made it work. You said, what is the one thing the universe is pulling me to do right now? And it was hula hooping and performing. And you
That's all
said,
I knew.
Yeah. What, how sounds simple, but like how simple?
Very serendipitous. And I think that's why, like, just my whole personality in general, I'm very chill because my whole life things have just unfolded organically. Mm-hmm. And I would never say that I'm like religious, not even spiritual. I don't know what to call it, but I have this weird faith that things are going the way that they should, and I'm gonna be where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be there.
Yeah, you're very like ride the wave.
Yeah, so the universe has always like just been there for me in really strange ways. It'll take a lot, and then it'll show me what I still have, even though I don't have what I thought I needed.
Right.
And then I somehow prevail and figure it out with what I got.
And I just need to preface for those not watching, but only listening, Tita no longer has dreads down to her knees. She is not in any type of crocheted fabric. She is looking like $1 million. Like full lashes, full face, the whole thing. So it's just, I love hearing that. That's kind of how you got started into performing. And then like look where you are now, and that's what's so incredible. And the fact that you did that. So what happened after you were like, okay, I made it, on hula hooping? I mean, and you just kept it up, continue to film and post?
I guess I didn't do it because there was like, nowadays people are like, content, we're going to be, influencers.
Right.
There's like words for that now. Back like 8-10 years ago, I was like, I don't know, there's people that there's a community online, and at the time there was no like tutorials or way for me to learn stuff. So then I latched on to the community that I found, and I honestly don't know. I just really love dancing. I know I always have. I just never really had a platform to do it. And then when people were supportive and made me feel, I don't know, like that people, I've always gotten my confidence because everyone has been so supportive. Like I've never been like a hey type of person. That's my parents. My dad is very much a showman. I am not like that, where I just kind of sit back and I'm just like, yo, my dad's crazy. But I don't know. So it's just because I have a lot of really supportive people that encourage me to do things out of my comfort zone.
And you just kind of followed what felt good.
Yeah.
And did you ever question it at all?
I question myself every day. To this day, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Like, does anybody?
Exactly. I'm just like, whatever, I'll wake up tomorrow and figure it out. And if I don't, then I don't. Like, there's really only two options. You do or you don't.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, with all these amazing skills that you have, was there anything that didn't, like, fall into your lap? Was there anything that you were like, no, I really want to learn this and I really want to figure this out?
Actually, right now, I have been taking a lot of dance classes. I took a fundamentals dance class at Millennium on Monday. I am not a dancer at all. Like, if I don't have something in my hands, I feel so awkward.
Which blows my mind because, like, we did a show.
We had
together,
a contract
and,
together, yeah.
And of course I was on stage with you, but I can still, out of the corner of my eye, I also didn't know it. So I was making sure that I was doing the dance right.
Sure.
Don't tell anyone.
Right. We got it down the last few days of the show, but yeah, it's okay.
That was such a fun show. But it blew my mind because I also remember we took a class together, and and I remember you being so nervous, and I was like, why? You're such an expert on the stage, and you're such an expert mover. Like, I was so confused, but I love that you're getting into it now. That's really dope.
That. Yeah. I think dancers don't get enough credit. My brain just does not work like that. And I get the showman thing naturally because my dad has always told me, like, if you've messed up, you meant to do that.
Yeah.
And no one's going to know the difference. And he's always just been able to close his eyes and do his thing. And so with dancing, with hula hoops and fans, whatever, it's the same for me, where it's like I go into this flow state. But if you're telling me my left hand, right arm, whatever, like, I'm completely dyslexic. Mm-hmm. And if I have to remember something while I'm like lost in the sauce, I don't know, my brain just doesn't connect like that.
It's funny because I feel like I've been trying to get into that just like flow state, like not questioning it and not like worrying about the details.
Sure.
But like when you just get in that momentum, you just it's literally just a meditation.
Yeah,
like, that's what
lost.
It like sounds like.
I have
it just
on the bottom of my legs movement meditation.
Yeah, and that's what it sounds like you're performing is to you.
Oh, absolutely.
And just like kind of all of your skills.
Just clock out. Yeah. Everything I do is to disassociate. Like, straight up, I have an issue. I love food. Anything I love a lot.
Yeah.
So I kind of just overindulge in stuff. And that's what performing is for me, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I get to be someone else.
Yeah. And is that relieving?
Oh, yeah. 100%. So much pressure.
Yeah.
To have to, like, not only be ourselves and be authentic, but then to know what that even means.
Right.
It's like, I don't know who I am. I don't have an identity. Like, don't perceive me. So it's fun that I get to like wear wigs and wear costumes I'd never even dream of and become a character to help people kind of also disassociate, when they're there. That's what we're for. I feel entertainment is to like relieve the stress of everyday life, whether you're an audience member or a performer. It's like to just clock out for a bit. So I'm just grateful that clocking out isn't like a bad coping mechanism. Like I'm lucky I found dance.
Yeah.
You know, because some people don't ever in their lifetime find something that's conducive to their healing.
Yeah. You found a way to escape that feels fulfilling and healing rather than like an escape to not feel.
Sure.
You know, at least that's what it sounds like.
Yeah. And it's really complex because like I'm not a very emotional person in my day-to-day life. But I think because I have such a really amazing like avenue to express myself that in my day-to-day it's pretty like I'm pretty level-headed. I hope. I think. I think. I don't know.
It's okay. You'll discuss that with your therapist later.
Right?
So like, okay, I'm going to circle back because, side note, performers can't keep a conversation straight.
Like squirrels. Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So you said that you're really pursuing dance right now. Why?
Well, going back to the whole organic thing, I've been a dance instructor for 2 years now. I don't know who thought or why, but here I am. Because I have really amazing peers that believe in me. And I'm like, you really believe in me that much? But I have students that have been regulars. And so I'm like, all right, well, I can't disappoint these people. You know what I mean? And even though I'm not a classically trained dancer, I do know kind of what I'm doing when you put me in those positions. I want to just be able to provide more for my students, like richer education, like with terminology and not just doing it based off feel, which is what I've always done. So I just want to educate myself so I can educate others pretty much. And I also really want to do better with like memory retention and then hand-eye. So if someone's telling me something, I want my body to cooperate more than what it does right now, because if there's a mirror too, it's game over. Like I'm like, wait, what's left and what's right? And what are you talking about? Are we talking about stage left, stage right? Like,
see, and then I have questions, which is great that you're here because I feel that way. So like primarily dancer, right? But I've dabbled in aerial just a tad. And you can tell me left, right, up, down, center, back, forth as a dancer, but aerial in the air, oh my God, Nope, it doesn't clock in for me as easily. So that's so intriguing to me that you find that opposite. Whereas like when you have something in your hand or you have something there, it's, not that left and right, but that's feels so much more at home than without it. So like,
I feel like I'm more in control of something rather than me having to be in control of myself. Like as a dancer, the music doesn't control you, you work with it. And same with flowing. I guess it's both the same. But if you miss a step or you're not like on your P's and Q's with especially choreography, you can tell. But with like flow, more or less, like if I want to sustain something for much longer, or even if I need to get into a move, I can take my time getting there because it's not about being necessarily on beat. It's more about musicality and showmanship. So as long as your lines are straight and you're pointing your toes and you're taking your time, it to me is more forgiving in that sense rather than dancing, especially when you're following a choreography. I can't.
That's so fascinating to me.
Yeah, right? And I never really thought about it like that either until you said something.
Oh, yeah, as soon as you put, not like as soon as, because I feel like I've gotten better with props and things of the sort, but like, especially when you're in the air, it all just, the world
flies out the
flips.
window.
Yep,
you're
the
like
world flips upside
down. You can't breathe, like you're in pain. There's a lot working against you.
And the fact that you can do that and do burlesque, like at the same time. Huh? Okay, we gotta go now. Again, so many questions. So like, because you have such a diverse like background and how it all came to be, but like, how did burlesque come into your life? Because I feel like you're all the shows all the time.
And I love that that's what you perceive it as, and I really appreciate that because I am truly just ADD ridden. I cannot
any performer or any independent artist or independent contractor totally is.
My God, it's like I'm trying to chase my brain around and it's like it's going a million miles per hour. So I just get bored. However, the burlesque thing was super organic. Again, I think I'm just going to keep saying the same thing this whole time. It's because I've had such amazing people in my life. Yeah. Like the Phoenix, shout out. Badlands, these two bars in this town are a staple of my life.
Yeah.
They have given me the platform to express myself freely, to explore new mediums. Anytime I'm coming up with a new act or I want to try something new, those are the places, and they are so encouraging and like with open hands. So I literally just loved this one song by Melanie Martinez for several years. And I've always like gone into La La Land when I listen to music. I'm sure other people know what I'm talking about, but like, especially if you're like a passenger in a car and you have your headphones in, you just go somewhere else. So that's like my superpower, I think, is to envision things that I hear. So when I heard that song, I had this whole thing, this storyline, and then I was like, but I don't have a budget for a music video or a stage production. Like, I have me. That's all I have. And some clothes that I can get at Savers. So I didn't have much money.
Let's go thrifting.
Girl, all I had was a little bit of coin in my pocket and the desire in my heart.
That is all you need.
Seriously. And so I was like, I have this cute little Hello Kitty backpack. My friend just gave me these stockings. The Phoenix just booked me.
Wait, so did the Phoenix book you and you didn't even have an act yet?
No, not at all.
Hang on, what? How did that happen?
Because
did they just ask for you?
Yeah, they're just my friends. Like my friend Michelle Bell, she's a hooper here in town.
Oh yeah,
she was like, "Hey, I can't make it to this gig." Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah,
love her. I love working with her. Anything that she's involved with, I'm there. So she was like, "Hey, I can't do this thing with this drag queen Cinnamon, who I absolutely adore." And then I was like, "Okay, sure." I had like 2 days, and I was like, I'll figure it out. And so my first act was just me hula hooping. And I was just like, whatever. I just show up with my hula hoop. Cool.
And no burlesque, just did the act. Okay.
Yeah. And that went great. And then the second one, I was like, I want to have fun. I want to do something that I've never really done before.
And you felt inspired and it felt right. And
that was it.
And it went well. I'm guessing.
Yeah. It went really well. It's on Facebook. And like
the whole act is on
the
Facebook.
whole act.
Okay.
And I had a stuffed animal that I've had since I was 7 in that act. And I was like, this is her debut, like type of vibe. You know what I mean?
Debut.
It's about her. It's not about me. Like, so it was fun. I just literally felt safe. That's how it started. And I think things with like sensuality and femininity, it has to start from a place of safety.
Then was that like super out of the box for you when you were like, let me come up with a burlesque act?
Oh yeah.
Like that.
I've been a tomboy most of my life.
Yeah.
The whole nails, lashes, hair thing.
Right, the dreads. We had the dreads.
Right.
We were living on a farm.
I didn't shave. I didn't care about nothing. I never looked in a mirror. Like my clothes that I wore, I had like 3-4 pieces of clothing that I wore every day that was just going to get dog poop on it anyway. So I was like, whatever. I don't know. It was totally, and I've never been like a girly girl. So, you know, like I ride motorcycles, I play video games all day, and I kind of am a slob and I'm gross. Even yesterday, I told my partner, I'm like over here picking at my skin. I'm like, you thought you were getting like a dainty little feminine girlfriend, didn't you? Because my perception of who I am on stage is not at all who I am in my real life. So, yeah, I'm like a gremlin in real life. All my real friends know that for sure.
So then how did you... I love that when you heard the song, you kind of just had this idea and you were like, okay, I got to do this act, I guess.
Yeah.
And like, was it your first instinct to do burlesque, or were you like, oh, I could hula hoop it?
No, I think it was my first instinct. Yeah.
Okay. And were you just like, great, I have 2 days, I got to get over this uncomfortable feeling?
I was not even
doing something new. Oh.
I was just like, let's just try it and see how it goes. What's the worst that can happen? I suck.
Yeah, I mean, and they don't book you. I mean, like, yeah, that's the worst that can happen.
I didn't at all feel that way.
Yeah, because were you excited for it a little bit?
Yeah, I was nervous. I was excited, but I also felt safe. Like, no matter what I did, I felt like they were going to accept me anyway.
Oh.
Yeah, and I think that's really important when it comes to relationships like that, to be creative, you know?
Yeah, that's really important. And that's incredible that the fact that you've been able to have that safety in your pursuit in a career, whether you knew or not at the time that it was going to become a career.
Absolutely. And all my close friends and family, because I could definitely understand how my career is perceived as like a normal person that doesn't know me. You know, I've gotten a lot of comments about how provocative what I do is, and like, I get it. It doesn't make sense to a lot of people. That's okay. It's not for people. It's not for everyone. And as long as, though, the people in my immediate life understand that this is kind of like my political stance on my body, on my art, it's meant to make people feel uncomfortable. It's meant for people to think about what they just saw. It's not supposed to be easily digestible, you know? So I think as long as it's thought-provoking, and that's why I think why I love burlesque so much. It's like my favorite medium of performance, just because I can really like expose who I am in such a weird, literal way, but also reclaim the power over myself again and be like, yeah, you can look, but you can't touch. Or maybe you can. And you know what? Just revel in it. And I've never, ever appreciated my body like that. So
you better tell them how it is. I love that. Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
And like, I do have to say, you come up with the most creative hacks. I remember one, I don't know why it stands out in my head so much, and maybe it's not original, and maybe multiple burlesque dancers have done it, but to me, I was just living in it. It was the the clown, and you got stuck. Your like pants or underwear got stuck, and I love how much comedy you put into your acts as well, because it's like, yes, you are so sexy, and you're this like badass like woman who just is so empowered, but then you just like, you come out dressed as a clown, and you get your little underwear stuck to something, I can't remember what it is, and then you like unravel and like and it all comes off, and then the same thing with your bra, and like I just loved that. I loved the comedy, but yet the juxtaposition of both the sexiness, the power, and the humor. Was that something you grew into?
No, I've always been silly and goofy. I think that's like the one thing I got going for me. Like, I don't let this fool you, but growing up, I got made fun of, you know, and I think we all did. It is hard for everybody, but my looks were not ever the forefront of me. And that wasn't until like my 20s that I've really felt like, okay, I'm a woman now. But so I've always just kind of laughed everything off. Everything has always just been a joke. I've never really taken anything seriously. And to a degree, I still don't. I'm very like about my business, but like
I truly love, so like I love that everything has flowed very naturally for you, because, and I feel like I've seen so many like other opposites of it, especially coming from somebody who was put into it and has got all the pressure from it and was like trained in it.
Yeah.
And now that I'm discovering how easy it can be, it's really, really affirming and refreshing to hear that, like coming from you, hearing about how easily it all comes. And I love how you just so naturally put who you are into your acts. And
I do feel like, yes, it's been all very organic and natural. I'm not going to say there wasn't any hard times. A lot of moments were very like, even right now to this day, I'm just like, what am I doing? Why am I doing? And how long am I going to be doing? But, you know, I take it from my parents. They have always encouraged me to be myself. And I think that is the most important thing as to why everything has so organically happened for me. Like I have resisted stuff where I have been like, you know what, I'm not going to give up.
Yeah.
And I want to tell everyone, don't ever give up. Like, don't. But there is a point in time where there's a difference between giving up and surrendering in a way. And like when I do things that is against my nature, I think that's when it's difficult for me to do things. Like when it doesn't really align with who I actually am and I know it. But if I continue to authentically make decisions that I feel are right for me, then things happen naturally that I don't have to fight for necessarily. But like I fight for, you know, my rate being a standard rate. I fight for my looks not being the forefront of my talent. I fight for the countless hours that I've put into everything that I do that people don't see. Like, it's not that it's like la-di-da-di-da. I'm going to wait for the world to give me what I'm asking for.
Right.
Because I'm always going to actively seek it. It's just the decisions that I'm making have to align with how I truly feel about like what I'm doing for myself.
What would you say is one of the biggest challenges you faced in terms of kind of what you talked about, your rate, whether it's how you're perceived as?
I mean, the industry, don't even get me started. Ugh. It's just people that think they know what they want and don't understand the logistics of what needs to happen, you know, and all the moving parts. So I don't even want to touch base on that because it's like a whole, you know.
No, but like what? I mean, like, because that's also that's, girl, that's why we're here. Let it all out.
I like don't want to be like, I don't
no,
wanna,
please
throw shade, but like, y'all need to get it together. I'm sorry. Like, that's what I'm saying. We all put in a lot of time that they don't see.
Right. So what do they take for granted?
Everything. I mean, just because I wanted to be outside for 6 to 10 hours a day hula hooping doesn't mean that shouldn't be valued. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, my art makes me happy, but my happiness doesn't pay my bills. And the reason why my cup is so full is because I choose not to do things that drain me. So that in itself is value. Like me being able to present myself for you and your company and what you are asking for takes a lot of effort on my end that like even just hair and makeup.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I went to school for this for 3 years for doing hair and makeup. And it's like all of these things add value to who you are because of the value that you invested in yourself with your education and like the decisions that you're making to grow as a person. And like training, like don't even get me started on that. My feet are torn to shreds right now. And it's like I have to wake up every day stiff as a rock, warm up, stretch because of the physical abuse that I put my body through on a daily basis. And I'm not getting any younger.
So, like, is there a specific story that you can maybe share or have on top of mind that you're like, this is what, like, my act was pitched or I was pitched to a venue or to someone and there were all these challenges before it could actually happen because they didn't understand? Like, was there
Oh my God, like every event.
Okay.
Every event. I can't even put my finger on one. Unless you were a performer at one point and you're a good person innately, those are the few people that I can count on that have my back, that when I say I don't feel safe doing this, they listen and they figure it out. And if I'm unhappy with a situation, they will advocate for me.
Right. So, like, can you walk us through what it looks like then? Because I want to know the nitty gritty things that you got to put up with, girl. Because you did not get here because it was all easy. And we know that. Like, let's celebrate it. Great.
For sure.
But, like, let it out. Like, what does it look like?
It's just like treading water.
Okay.
And trying to see how this person's communication skills are.
So you get booked, whether it's they contact you and they're like, hey, we want you to do this thing.
Generally, there's always a middleman. And those are the people that I'm kind of like, and of course, make your coin. If you are making the connection, I expect you to make your coin. However, what I would want is full transparency.
And the middleman would be like the person that you're like your point of contact, the person that you're in
my
contact
agent,
with.
the person that I need to meet when I'm there.
Got it.
Usually there's an agent and then a point of contact and then me.
Okay, so like how are you booked? Like, because I see you go everywhere all the time.
It just depends whether it's my friend that can't do it, she puts me on, and then I get groovy with those people, and then we're kind of in like a team and we kind of just cycle. If I need this done, I know who does it, whatever. And then we have agents in town that I cold call, man. I spend like, it depends on the season of the year, but I will spend hours on the computer just being like, hey, my name is this is what I do. Let me know if you have any availability for, if you're looking for this, looking for that, whatever.
And agents for venues or agents for your performance circle specifically?
I think
just because we're both in the entertainment world, but I also don't know how it works with your specific skill set.
Sure. Both. I'm on rosters that they do a lot of corporate or private. And then I have like an agent that books me regularly at one venue weekly. And then I have like people that I'm very close friends with that own entertainment companies that ask me for help with their entertainment companies. So like providing a roster for other people too. So, and then there's people that directly hit me up that have seen me in person, flag me down, and then they're like, hey, would you? And then, so word of mouth, cold calling, even going on Craigslist, girl.
Oh, wait, really? Like even now?
Yeah, 100% conventions.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't know what they're doing. So they'll just go on Craigslist real quick, looking for a girl that spins poi. Done.
Huh. I never thought about that.
Yeah. I mean, when I grew up poor. So like if I need something, I'm going to go out and I'm going to find it. I'm not waiting for someone to hit me up and be like, I have a gig for you. And also like there's a plethora of us here in town. And me, just because I can still and do all these things, like there's a lot of people that can do all of those things. So it's just a matter of being in the right time and at the right place, you know? And like just having to explain to these people what they're really paying for.
Right. So if somebody contacts you and like, hey, we want you to perform at our venue, or hey, you're filling in, or whatever, and what is that challenging conversation?
I hate when they ask me what my rate is, because it's not that easy, because I'm like, okay, but what are we working with here? Am I clothing myself? And do I have a personal assistant? Am I working for a company? Am I coming by myself?
Right.
Is this fire? Is this stilts? Do I need a safety? Do I need insurance? Like, you need to tell me what you have first as the client or the agent. And then I love when they're like, well, it's not that I hate when they ask me what my rate is. I just don't like that question as an umbrella.
There's no context.
Right. Like, I need more information. And
it's usually, whether it's like a private party or a venue, it's like, I need to know what can I do, or like, what do you want, I guess.
And then that goes into producer territory, you know? And I've had to play that role a few times myself. I produced a show on the Strip called Mr. Daddy's Cabaret, R.I.P. Stevie, Mr. Daddy. That was my co-producer. And we had that show for like 3 months. We had a contract, and I had to like advocate for all of these performers. And
okay, we're going into that. So how did that start?
Again, dude, we were at some afters, and he's just like smoking a hookah. He's like, I have money and a stage, and you know what you're doing. And I'm like, are you talking to me?
Just by seeing you like perform on Fremont, or like,
no, we were just friends.
Okay.
I mean, we've performed together. He did like the man in the mirror thing.
Okay.
And I've done a few gigs with him. So he was like, I've seen you do your thing, and I think you know what you're doing. I was like, okay, that makes one of us. And so I just was like, I'll entertain it. And it was right after COVID. His whole dream was to give performers a platform, because we got that taken away. And getting our performers paid. That was like his main like campaign. And so I was like, I'm for that. I am for that. So I hit up all of the amazing performers that I knew. And didn't even have to hold an audition, because I was like, okay, we're good. Like, we got
and right
the
after
acts.
COVID, I mean, everybody was free,
ready. Yeah. So he knew the owner of the Mosaic, which is on the Strip. I think Aussie Heat was there, or something like that. So it just like unraveled really slowly, where I was just like, okay, this is happening. We're signing papers now. I'm in this theater with him and the assistant for our show, and we're like talking business. And it became really messy, because like there's a lot of personal things going on, and then like, you know, the funding and all that. So I understood how much money it was going to take, and I already said that from the beginning. And you know, Stevie, bless his heart, he is such a dreamer, and that's why I loved him so much. Like, he wanted so much good for this world, too much that it was hard to do. Like, it was out there, you know? So I was like, I'm going to help as much as I can, but here are the numbers, and I don't think that this is going to work. So that's where I had to kind of be like, what's fair? What's realistic? What can we take away to make it more fair and realistic for the people that are participating? And it became really just complicated, because I had to deal with like all facets of it, and then he also asked me to perform in it. And I was doing like a live belly dancing act with a snake, and it was like a lot. I learned so much though. And I would never trade any of that, because I knew what I really felt like I had to speak up.
Was that one of the first times you learned like all the back end of stuff?
No, I've always been very observant and taken things in. That's why I think I was so like, I'm ready. I can do this. But what was really difficult for me was like having the hard conversation and keeping the energy light.
Right.
And the professionalism, that's something that you have to walk a very fine line, especially if you know someone personally, you know, and you have to take them for who they are, and then just express what you can, the best that you can, and then leave it at that. And you can't let your personal feelings get in the way of that, I feel. Yeah.
So then how did you discover that line of like, no, we need to get paid what we're worth. You're my friend, but also like this is a job.
I think it was easier with him because he was my friend. Because I think we both had like a mutual respect for each other. But when it's coming from someone that I don't know and I can't gauge, especially because it's over the phone or over email, I think that's a little bit more difficult. I try really hard to use different vocabulary. I think that's really important. And you can't let your tone undermine your message.
Okay. So like, can you give an example? Like,
yeah. I got offered a contract and he pretty much was like, well, you know, experience, you're young. And I'll leave it at that. And I'm like, I understand, but also I'm already in a point in my career where I am traveling for work, and I appreciate that sentiment, but I have to feel like it's worth it for me to leave everything at home to be able to go somewhere else and be able to afford what I need to. So with that rate, I would be more than happy to also like offer my directing type of services where I can help all of the other performers there. So you're not just paying me to perform, you're paying me to also manage and help like on site. And he was like, okay, that makes sense. That's worth it for that rate. I was like, okay. So I guess like you just have to kind of make people think it's their idea first. And so I try and use very like professional vocabulary and not use anything like I feel, nothing about myself. It's always about the facts and that's it. So the fact is, yeah, that's great and I appreciate that. But also the fact is I'm not at that point in my life. And you can say that in a multitude of ways, but when there's no tone that you can receive, it's kind of hard to like not come off
like when you're
crass.
emailing or like sending a message of sorts. So have you found like an easier flow to where you're booked and you have these kind of conversations? Because it sounds like you have these kind of conversations a lot.
A gratitude and appreciation, I think always.
What do you mean? Like at first being like
showing them. No, constantly.
And they feel
I think as long as you make people feel like it's a priority, but it's not a burden, you know what I mean? And like, you have to put into perspective, like, yo, I'm doing all this for you, but I'm grateful that I'm doing all for you. So, but I need you to kind of get it together on your end, you know? So I always start with, I really appreciate you. I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you. But... And then it kind of lessens the blow. And then I end it with more appreciation and patience and like, take your time, do what you have to. I'll hit you up again if you don't hit me up. And just kind of like reinforcing, just like keeping the tone chill. Because once you start to be aggravated, people will follow along and then it does not end well. So that's where I've learned in this industry, you got to keep your cool. Even under like 5 minutes before curtain or whatever, like it's so stressful. Everybody's so stressed. And people get short and snappy, and I get it. I've been in this industry long enough. I'm like, oh, don't mess with them right now. Like, we're about to start the show. Just chill. But I've learned how to put all that aside and be like, what needs to happen? It's not about me at all.
Yeah.
What needs to be done? And then making people feel like their efforts were appreciated. Yeah.
How did you like figure that out? Meaning like the whole like, is it just being in the industry so many years? Did you say
trauma?
Because like that sounds like it's either something that comes from being in the industry for so many years, but it also sounds like something that you had to like look for elsewhere in order to bring that skill set to space.
Yeah, where I'm from, we're all really aggressive. Maryland, DC, Virginia, we are just aggressive in our tone and our mannerisms. Like, people are always fighting, you know? I don't know if you've ever been to the East Coast, but that's just how people are. At least where I'm from. Always got something to say, always got something to argue about. So everybody's always confrontational, but not, I wouldn't say in a bad way. I say it's good to ruffle feathers. I say it's good to be direct. Not everybody's like that, but where I grew up, definitely it's kind of just like, hey, you're being an idiot. Okay, what are you going to do about it? You know? So I was also very argumentative and confrontational growing up. for a while, just aggressive. I don't And then I realized, I'm like, I'm not doing myself any favors. If anything, I'm making it harder on myself. So at this point, whatever. Like, you can think whatever you want about me, but what I care most about is peace more than anything else. And I think when that's your priority, you try and maintain that peace as much as possible. And it could be from, you know, my upbringing in the home. It could be my upbringing in school, but there's just always so much. And I'm like, I don't need any of this. This is too much for me. So I'm just like, yo, man, whatever you need to make your life easier, I'm here because I'm chilling. So that's just how I am in my life. Like, I'm here if you're ready, if you need something. And if not, I'm just here. So I think that translates really well in my work life too. I'm a team player, but not a pushover.
Side note, you've had a lot of great one-liners on this podcast so far.
Thank you. I'm also going to be a philosopher in my future career. I'm kidding.
This is the start.
You never know.
So was there like a time maybe that you were just like working with this venue or this like booker and it was just so stressful they just didn't get it, where you actually just had to turn it all down, or like maybe not show up the day of the gig, like a total tragic event? As many details as you can share, if one comes to mind, because I know that like
Not really.
sometimes we sign NDAs and we can't talk about it. But anything that you can share where you were like, you know what, this isn't going to be good for my mental health, I have to step away.
No.
Okay.
Because I don't have a very volatile, like, I don't react. I'm very, let me take this information in and analyze it real quick before I just pop off, because I used to pop off too fast. So no, but I definitely have been in situations where I'm just trying to truck through it and get through it. And then when I'm done, I'm like, these people better lose my number. So I will always try anything once within reason. If it sounds like a good idea, I'll give it a try. But if event after event after event, in terms of that one event, the series of events within it, if it's not going in, you know, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna care as much as you care. At this point, I'm here. So as long as I get paid what I need to get paid and you put in as much effort as you do and I'll match that, I'm good. I'm gonna leave after this and that's it. A job's a job. I don't really care what industry you're in and how much you love your job. A job is a job. And when you're clocked in, I need you to be clocked in. And that's what I tell myself. Like, everything else, you leave at the door. Your emotions, your personal feelings, it don't matter. Come in with an open mind. Maybe they'll change your mind. Maybe these preconceived notions of what you thought you had coming in are going to be different. It could be in a positive way or a negative way. But just take it as it comes and learn from it. And like, I think the only difference between someone who isn't the smartest and someone who made a mistake is that the person that made a mistake will probably learn from it and not do it again. So it's okay to make dumb decisions every once in a while. How else are you going to learn? But if you don't learn from it, then that's, you know, kind of your own fault. So I refuse to not learn from the experiences that I put myself into. But I will never blow up and be like, I'm out. I also don't believe in that, because I would hope that if I had a business where I was hiring people wouldn't do that to me. So I try to behave the way that I would want my own employee to behave, I feel.
I need to know, is there a specific failure in life that you are really grateful that it happened? Like, whether it was like a show that messed up, or like it could literally be anything.
I mean, I genuinely feel like that's just been my whole life. Like, the most recent thing was I got into this really gnarly car accident last year in September. I was in the car, which I still don't understand, but I was at a stoplight and a drunk driver hit me head on. And I was like, why? You know, I always believe everything happens for a reason, but I'm just like, why do I have to be in the car? Like, but I mean, because the car that I had just bought brand new was a little too small, and like I have a lot of gear all the time. I get it. You know, the universe is like, you need something bigger, you need something better. But why was I in the car? So I think a lot of the misfortunes in my life have been is to project me into the right direction because I made a decision that I knew I shouldn't have made. Yeah. So, and all of it is thankfully not within the industry, those occurrences. I've never had that occurrence. Actually, I lied. It's right now. where I kind of feel like there's a hindrance coming from like a decision that I've made for myself, and it's kind of up in the air, and I'm unsure of my future, but I believe that whatever is supposed to happen will when it's supposed to. So, yeah.
I mean, that's worked out well for you so
I know,
far.
exactly. That's why I
And
have
you've
to keep
taken
reminding
it
myself.
so beautifully, whether
I
it's probably
appreciate it.
felt down a lot. There's so many ups and downs, but you've handled it like an absolute, I mean,
Oh my
better than a
God.
champ.
That's only because you haven't seen, you know, like I have depression. I'm when I tell people I'm cute but psycho, I am not joking. I'm seriously not joking, and people think it's so. I'm like, no, like once you get to know me, I do things that you're just like, why? And you won't understand, and I don't need you to understand. I just need you to support me.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know. I wish my brain would cooperate a little bit more with me sometimes, but it doesn't. And I know that about myself, so I'm just kind of reclusive in those times where I kind of like lay low and don't answer text messages, and yeah.
So do you have any like resources that you go to every time you hit those points, or like whether book, music?
It changes. I think, you know, we always become new versions of ourselves all the time. So whatever served me a few years ago, I can't say it serves me now. And I'm still trying to figure that out. I think just like being patient with yourself and not looking for a destination is really like I've done a lot of exterior things to try and subdue or help whatever it is that I go through. But I think just like being patient with myself and listening to my body is like the most important thing I can do, because sometimes like you need to push through. If you don't feel like going to the gym, those are the days you got to go, blah, blah, blah. But there are also days where you need to lay down and just stare at a ceiling and be okay with that and not feel like a complete failure because you need that. So I think I'm learning how to like put less pressure on myself. And it doesn't necessarily help in the moment, but I let those moments kind of like do what they need to do instead of try to fight it and pretend like I'm okay and like get up and do stuff that I don't want to do. So, I mean, that's what works for me. But I'm not promoting to just like be a sack of potatoes and like, you know, be depressed. But sometimes I feel like that's just all I need. Yeah, because I always have to be present and like, you know, so if I can just like not and just be a sack of flesh, I'll reset in like 3 to 4 days. Yeah.
Did you try turning it off and turning it back on again?
Yeah, blowing in it. Yeah, no, for sure. That's usually how it goes.
I love that. I have a few more questions for you, and then we'll round it out. If you could send a message to everyone's phone right now to get something out to tell the world anything in the world,
Okay.
what would you want to tell them? Tell them all.
Don't be so hard on yourself. I feel like we are all taught to be like on all the time, like what I was just saying, you know? You don't have to know what you want. You don't have to know what your identity is. You don't have to have an identity. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. You don't have to do anything.
Period.
Like,
Period.
Like hustle culture it's toxic.
Girl.
And capitalism, whatever. Make your coin, but at the same time, there's so much more to life than that.
Hustle culture, girl. Oh my God. Yeah. No, I hear that. I hear you. I love that. Don't be so hard on yourself. Can you tell me the funniest performance story or like most bizarre?
Okay. The most bizarre, I mean, I don't know if this is bizarre, but
It might not be bizarre to us.
Right.
But for somebody listening, it might be bizarre.
I had a pound of turkey meat thrown at my head on stage like a year ago at my residency.
Did you just say, I don't know if this is bizarre?
I mean, more bizarre
It might not be bizarre for Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
Why on earth?
I don't know.
Did you have who threw turkey meat at you?
No, because when I looked into the crowd, there was no one there that looked like they did it.
Wait, you were just I need the story.
Dude,
I need the full story.
I was clocked out, just like dancing. All of a sudden, I'm like, what? And I look down and it's a pound of the turkey meat that's wrapped you know? And it was warm. So I was like, this person had them on them for a minute. Yeah, because I picked it up and I was like, what is this? And I was like, ew, I shouldn't touch that.
Was it like during your act that you picked it up?
Yeah. Yeah, because what I'm going to do, leave that on there? I'm sorry. There are some gigs where I'm just like, you know what? This is my time. And y'all are gonna be here for my time.
What in the world?
Yeah.
Somebody out there in the audience said, you know what?
She deserves it. Yeah. They looked at me.
Needs to eat tonight.
And I ate. I was like, yo, if it was cold.
Honey, you probably served that
I slayed, I served, I ate. And you know what? I left no crumbs. And I was like, what a waste. What a waste. Because if this was cold in a bag, I might have taken it home. But it was not. And I was like, I don't trust this. I don't know what this is or where it came from. I just threw it away.
I have so many questions about why that person thought that was a good idea. That's hilarious.
I don't know. I get things thrown at me all the time.
What else have you gotten thrown at you?
Drinks. The other day, a gold necklace.
Oh.
Was not substantial. I know my medals, and that was not anything. No, I've gotten a lot of things thrown at me. And then the second thing happened when I first moved here. I was in like this $200 car that I got at an auction. We had just moved here. I had dreads and everything. I got booked for this private, do you know MGM Mansion? They have a mansion back there.
Do they?
Yeah.
You know what? Anything that the casinos have does not surprise me.
It's crazy. It's in the alleyway. It's huge. Post Malone was there the day before, like throwing an event.
And then you just happened to perform there.
Yeah, but they wouldn't let me in.
Because you had dreads?
Because of everything, I guess. Like my car was like this total sloppy jalopy thing. And I was like, I'm a performer. And then they were like, you're not on the list. I was like, I promise I am. And then the dude that hired me had to come out and get me. Mm-hmm. And then they wouldn't park my car at valet. So it was a whole thing. And it was crazy because there was like 50 to 75 naked women all over this place, like 2 dudes. It was crazy. I had felt like I stepped into something I was not supposed to see. And I was a fire dancer for the event. So that was my first like, oh, we're in Vegas moment. Like, oh, like this is, they've got money.
What do they do at that mansion? Wow.
I mean, I do naked sushi too. So now I know, like, people are weird.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen it.
And if they have money.
Oh, especially if they have money. The more money, the weirder these people are.
It's the more they live out their fantasies.
I guarantee it. And because they live out their fantasies get weirder because they have happened in real life. So things that are not supposed to be attainable and only in your dreams, then once you actually achieve them, then you're like, okay, well, now what? Now I'm going to be weirder. And I'm like, okay. I literally, there are moments where I text people. I'm like, this is where I'm going to be. If I don't text you at this time, you know, what is it? Get Out? No, not Get Out. That Key and Peele movie where they're like going to the rich people's house and they're like using them as like entertainment.
Is it Get Out? It might be Get Out.
Something like that. But anyways, that's what I feel all the time when I'm with these rich people. I'm like, I'm just this brown girl and I'm scared.
not Get Out.
Yeah.
No, you know what? I can see it. No, I mean, I haven't been in that situation, but it doesn't surprise me. Honestly, nothing in Vegas really surprises me anymore. I have so many more questions about things being thrown at you and places that you've been. Because, like, what in the world? What is life? What is the life in Vegas? But I want to know, do you have anything exciting coming up? Any new ideas for shows, for acts, for...
I'm always moving and grooving. I just made a half man, half woman act.
Oh.
I saw something like that when I was really young on the telly.
Okay.
And it has always just stuck with me.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, I'm like, wait a second, I could do that. I have a platform. Like, I don't have to just think about it anymore. So I did it, and it's actually really difficult to move like a man. Like the masculine movements, I did not know how difficult that would be.
Side note, I know it's not about me, but like I recently have been assisting on a few gigs, and I had to come up with male choreography. And let me tell you, my brain just stopped. I was like, oh my God, I've been doing so like...
Yeah, a lot
like,
of...
She's
yeah.
cute. She's got like, you know,
right.
We're moving and we're grooving and we're like sexy. And then it was like, okay, I need guy choreography. And I was like, what?
This doesn't make sense. Yeah, and especially because then I'm doing both. So I have to switch that on and off.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah. And you're like left side or right side of your body?
The right side's the male, left side's the female for the costume.
You know, in spirituality, they say that.
I do know that now.
Why
After
am I
I
saying
did that.
Oh, really?
Yes. My friend had just told me. And I was like, that's weird because my right side is my good side. So, of course, naturally, I wanted to be the female on this side because I was like, but then I was like, I don't know. Something's telling me that I need to make the man the right side. So it's been hard. And I thought the costume making was going to be the hardest part. It's not.
Well, yeah, because on top of all of your talents, many as they are, you also sew and like do all your costumes. Because like these acts as a one-woman show, they're not done by other people. They're done by you.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's even more to applaud because like, listen, a hole gets in my clothes and I'm like, no, I have to sew.
Yeah, I'm a ADHD girly or ADD or whatever. Yeah, I love doing things with my hands. I just got to keep myself busy. So, yeah.
So when are you debuting this act?
Oh, I already did.
Oh, you already did?
But I'm working on it, refining it. It's something that I want to get better at.
Okay.
I really want a curtain because I think that'll help with the illusion. I'm going to get like a fake beard and mustache to glue on.
I love that.
But little shout out, I'm making a new act for my mother who passed away 2 years ago. And the song sounds like a song about a lover, but it's not. And it's called Light Shower by Melanie Martinez. Please check it out. It's an incredible song. So sweet. And basically, little, I guess, teaser is I'm going to be a flower, but I'm the whole stem. And then, and then I'm going to have like a little brown scarf, and that's going to be the dirt. And in the song, it goes, I want to spend the rest of my days on earth planning on devouring you, pretty much. So it's just kind of like an homage to my mother of like, if I could, all I would do for the rest of my life is hug you. So it's going to be really pretty. I'm working on the costume. It's going to be all green, very flowy. And then I'm going to make like a really big flower thing. And I'm excited for that.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, that's what gets me up in the morning.
Oh, I love that.
I'm like, I'm going to find fabric. I'm going to find rhinestones. I'm going to make this.
Like creating.
Yeah. I'm really excited to start on that. I just love like rhinestoning stuff and sewing things. So if you have any commissions or anything or whatever, I'm available. Yeah, I really love it.
It's like full circle, right? Because you said that back in Washington, you would do crochet, and then you would vend at the festivals. You're crocheting and
I actually started sewing in high school because I bought a $5 sewing machine from CVS.
Love that.
And I was like, okay. And then I made like a zipper pouch, and it was game over. I was like, oh my God, I'm unstoppable. I was like, look what I can do. I can do anything. Yes.
I love that. Miss Tita, where can the great people and audience find you on socials?
Hypnotizing Hippie, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Hypnotizing Hippie, Hippie. And I will spell it out. It's a lot. Hypnotizing Hippie. Obviously, I've spelled it a bunch because I know how to spell it without having to look at it. And Tita Sativa was what I was omitting is that I was on a pot farm up in Washington. That's how I really got into the hula hooping thing. And that was like my weed persona. So Tita Sativa is also my other stuff, my personal stuff, I guess. But stay connected.
Stay connected, keep following, and if you are in Vegas and you want to see this fabulous girl perform, you know where you're going to see the posts.
Yeah. I have a calendar in the link of my bio of Instagram that I myself update every week. That's a lot.
Oh my God. Yes. Follow her, go support, see a show, and I am just so excited to see all the more amazing things that you do.
Thank you. I'm excited to grow old with you and like talk about the stuff that we did when we were old ladies. Like,
oh my God,
like this.
We are gonna grow old together, Tita.
Like, remember back in Las Vegas? It's gonna be so cute.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I can't wait.
This is fantastic. Thank you so much, Tita.
Thanks for having me.
That's a wrap.